All right, now let's talk a little bit about the BreathStop. Now that name is not original with me. It came through translation from Lily Lehmann, who was of course German speaking. She said the breath is on the way, it's on the way out, and you stop it. And she said you stop it on the chest. Tetracini said on the sternum, right? So everybody had a slightly different place that they like to stop it. Delmonico always stops it here. But it was still a breath stop. In other words, if I'm singing breathy, they ask Adelina Patti, what do you think about when you sing? Tell us about your vocal production, how you produce your voice. She said, she thought for a moment, and then she said, don't sing breathy. Now, if I sing breathy, unforgettable, that's what you are, I'm letting the breath leak literally through my throat. If I sing so-called classical music, then I want to sing like I'm underwater and don't want to make any bubbles. And this sort of thing drives the throat doctor crazy because the throat doctors, all the doctors are taught that the air has to pass through your vocal cords, your vocal folds, and in order to vibrate them and to make sound. And of course, all the great singers in history will say, don't sing breathy. So if I don't sing breathy, what do I do? How do I sing? Let me see. Let me get a Kleenex. Watch this. I do this all the time, and I, of course, do really very seriously recommend it, and everybody's starting to do it. But you take aspirated consonants, let's say like P, and you go like this, and you go ba 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 gina ba ba gina ba ba gina ba 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 boo boo ba ba bee bee ba 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 bee 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 ba 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 ba. Now, if I don't leak air, for some reason, it kicks my voice up in my resonance, and my voice is above my nose. Ba 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 ba. So there are all these different ways to achieve the mask. If all we ever did was this one exercise, someone like Adele, who's in terrible vocal trouble and going to retire at age 29, all she has to do is this exercise. And if you can achieve your success by getting so that it does not move, that is your success. Your success is when I do to be or not to be. That is the question. Whatever I say, I say, vogliamo andare nella città per comprare qualche cosa stasera per mangiare. Ja, wir müssen noch heute Abend in die Stadt gehen, etwas zu kaufen, dass wir heute Abend überhaupt essen können. Right? You can say anything you want to. Je ne veux que je suis de fond ma mémoire. Как вы поживаете? Он говорит хорошо. You say all of these things, right, without the paper moving. So that is a breath stop. That means that I'm not letting the breath run out of my throat. I'm not going. Now we talked about the so-called exhalation method and the sigh method, but the most important thing about those is, although they're not stopped deliberately by putting them somewhere, they are stopped in the sense that you lean the breath against your diaphragm, and I go, ah. So you can see, we give that one the paper test, and we get, and the paper's moving, and then when I drop it on my diaphragm, it goes, ah. So we want the breath stopped when we sing. There are a lot of exercises people do to get them to stop. One of the most famous ones used by Manuel Garcia II was what he called the miniature cough. Now, you know babies, when babies cry, they go, ah, 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 and you hear this funny coughing function that they do. And if you watch their stomachs jump out. So Pavarotti said he watched his children. He had apparently 3 babies, and he watched them, and their stomachs jumped out all the time. And he realized if he would push stomach out a little bit and keep it there, he could sing well, and he did. He was a great singer. And his whole technique was to stop the breath right on the diaphragm like that and sing. And that's the way he sang. Ah, ah, see? Ah, ah, ah. If I do that cough, ah, 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 it does allow people to sing louder and bigger, but you really should have the right kind of voice for it. Delmonico did it here. Now, what does it sound like if I cough here? See? ah, 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 sitting right in my nose, and there's nothing, my throat's completely relaxed, there's nothing happening here at all. Everything is happening between this breath stop and my resonance, which is way up here. It does impose a certain kind of phonation on you when you do that. If I go, where is that? If I cough, I go, where's the vowel? Look at that. The vowel, Caruso said in his book, the ah vowel is very far back and low in the throat. Now, what did he mean by that? Obviously, he had more forward resonance than upper forward resonance, probably than any singer that ever lived that we know of. How in the world could he put his vowels in the far back and low in the throat? He told Rosa Poncel to keep a rectangle in the back of her neck all the time. Any number of singers, Joan Sutherland, Franco Corelli, I've known so many singers personally who said they sang in the back of the neck. What does that mean to sing in the back of the neck? It just means that if I go, that I have a breath stop that opens my throat vertically. And all my vowels feel like they're sitting right here. Right on the miniature cough point. So I'm trying to find that. I can't find it. It's so far down. No wonder Caruso called it low in the throat. Someone like Benny Minogili and Adi Volpi, those guys sang with what they called sliding back and down. So the theory was it's like you're swallowing a raw egg and you're going, ah, and when you do that, it feels like a raw egg is sliding down the back of your throat. And you can sing like that. Why not? But look what it does. It goes, ah. It makes me do a breath stop on my diaphragm. So some of these breath stops are somewhat violent. Some are done with miniature coughs. Lehman just said, stop the breath here and go, so the violence of the stop is going to be how violently I'm exhaling. So if I exhale gently, can hardly hear it. So it's up to the individual singer to decide how violently they want to do things. When we do the exhalation technique, how loud, how hard, how much should I blow? Should I blow a hurricane? Is that an exhalation? Unfortunately, you can sing that way. So singers that want to sing big very often blow air like crazy. Tito Skiba said he thought of his voice like a salami. The thinner he could slice it, the longer it would last. So how lightly did he attack his voice? Shake it on giorno. He's just barely going. So this breath stopping business is really something. You do not want to leak air. How do I stop my breath when I'm doing one of these things where I don't leak? Ba 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 va vi vi vo va vi vi vo va va vi vi vo va ma. Then you get into another whole approach, which is the staccato approach. If I take a breath behind me way down low and go, and then sing staccato, I get Now that is an activation of something in my diaphragm. And you realize it's a breath stop. So if I could staccato and find that pulse, I could sing everything right on that little pulse. What am I doing? Lunge per me non va diletto. All I have to do is staccato all the time after a big breath down low in my back, and I will feel a breath stop on my tummy, on my diaphragm. If I do the staccatos, breathe, do staccato, You realize staccatos don't leak if I do them from way down low in my back. So there is no breathiness. There's nothing coming through my throat that can injure my voice, because the only thing that goes through your throat is air. Even Delmonico, singing those gigantic tones, sang Otello 467 times and never had a vocal problem. Not to mention all the other stuff he sang, which was huge. I heard him sing all kinds of stuff. I heard him sing Aida and André Chenier and all these big operas. And he never had vocal problems. And I asked him one time, because he was always demonstrating here. I studied with him for about 5 months. And he was demonstrating this. He used to put it right in the sternal notch, right there. Now, I said to him, doesn't that come up? Doesn't that hurt your throat? Don't you get fatigue in your throat? He said, oh, no. He says, I never let the air go any higher than here. If the air comes up above here and comes into my throat, that would injure my throat. So I stopped the breath here, which I thought was interesting. Fermati. I stopped, you see? I stopped the breath here, and I go, So now I can sing there, right? Guess what? It doesn't leak air. When I do this, it's like, like I've got a megaphone in my throat. I've got the small end of the megaphone down here. Now, if you go to study and someone says, focus, 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 then you're taking your megaphone and putting it backwards and trying to make your voice go in a small hole. Well, of course, it takes the voice away and takes the color away. So then they say, oh, no, you got to open your throat. So they open the megaphone. Remember, it's backwards, so it has to be open in the back and small in the front. So it's like that. So they sing with the soft palate up, and they go, and they sing like that. It has a few good things about it. It doesn't leak air usually, but you get a lot of tracheal resonance. Right? You don't want tracheal resonance. You want head resonance. You want See? Mask. The true mask is up here. It's not in my nose. It's not in this false mask. It's all in the true mask, if I can find the breath stop. So I bend over, take a big breath in my fanny, and I go, Now, where is that? There's definitely a staccato pulse happening in here. I'm not placing it here. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going, Where is that now? Think about it. Why can't I sing that way? See? Where is my breath stop? If you want to take a staccato function and call it a breath stop, because it definitely stops the breath, and the breath does not run out. And if you do staccatos for the doctor, and he looks down there and he sees your vocal cords doing like that, right? And there's no air coming through. He used to say to me, you know, you're the only person I could stick my mirror down there and my mirror doesn't fog over. It's amazing. I said, well, I'm not supposed to be fog. I'm not supposed to be making any bubbles. Remember, I'm supposed to be underwater, so there's not supposed to be any air coming out of there. He said, well, there must be some. I said, yes, I don't really know. Maybe there's some minute amount of air coming out of there, but I do my best not to leak. And everybody does. You hear some singers really sing like that, trying to not let the voice leak. All you need is a breath stop. A miniature cough. Now, when I was at the Metropolitan Opera School, now this is way back in 1962, Bonaldo Giotti was a famous basso, and he was working with the young singers. I was there, Shirley Verrett was there, Justino Diaz was there. There were several, young singers there, and he was going to try to help us all. So he taught us to vomit. He said, retch, if you retch, now the breath is stopped and it can't go out. And he sang that way. He's saying it's a bass. If I do that, you can hear my breath has stopped, absolutely. And to prove it, if you don't believe me, then I do this. See? How do I do that? All I'm doing is puking. I'm going, huh. Now, the young singers, Justino Diaz was a bass, I was a tenor. Shirley Barrett at that time was the best lyric mezzo I ever heard, beautiful lyric mezzo. And all of us started getting little irritated spots in our vocal cords, in our throats. And what in the world was the matter? What was causing that? See? Usually, what happens is, the only thing that can damage your voice is air leaking through that is not utilized. Unutilized breath. If the breath is stopped and not leaking, it will not damage your vocal folds. So obviously what was happening to us was we weren't getting discomfort and pain in the vocal folds themselves. We were getting it in the peripheral muscles around the vocal cords. So if I go, my vocal cords are absolutely clear as a bell, but I'm holding something. You can see that. If I do that very long, I start getting a discomfort in my muscles, in my throat. So a lot of singers do sing in a very muscular way. It's funny how the singers always want to do something up here, sort of to help things out. If I lift my soft palate like that, the voice is now pulled back. Well, is that what I want to do? Do I want to sing in a huge theater over a big orchestra and pull my voice back? So, what if I do nothing? Well, it's not really true. I'm not really doing nothing. I really am using a breath stop. I'm going, A lot of people say, yeah, but that's not covering. That's wide open. Oh, is it? Wide open would be an action in the throat. That's wide open. And why is wide open bad? Because wide open is an action in the throat. And the first rule of the old school of singing was no action in the throat. Therefore, it's wrong. But it's also wrong to go, It sounds maybe better than the wide open, spread, blatty, white sound, but it is still wrong because it is an action in the throat. So how do I sing without making any action in the throat? I have to use a breath stop, which means I got to sing down in my body, down below, see? So if I go, I'm going to exhale and stop the exhalation. You can hear me stopping it. I'm getting a reaction right here. I'm stopping it and I go, now let go of this, relax this, but I maintain that. See? So when I start to sing, this lets go, but that remains. So I go, and all I'm doing is going, and that's the breath stop concept, is we don't have to use this if the breath is controlled somewhere else. So we have all these so-called, I don't know what they're called. They're called, we have the pre-sneeze. The pre-sneeze causes a reaction. The minute I do that, you see what's happening? But again, I've got going on in my diaphragm do that, caused as a reaction to my pre-sneeze function. If I do all of these little exercises, staccato is one of the most efficient. It's been used endlessly over the years, and many singers who develop the super, terrific coloratura end up being able to sing pretty much long careers and sing high notes very easily. These breath stops, however, or something that you really want to learn to do. Now we have, we went through what, lip clamp, we did la, la, and we did some of these blah. If you do a breath stop deliberately, which means you start an exhalation and then stop it. It has a name. It's called, in medicine, it's called Valsalva maneuver. Valsalva maneuver. It means you're stopping your exhalation by closing your throat. Now, I relax my throat and I maintain the reaction I got when I did the Valsalva maneuver. I got a real tremendous action right here. See? Now relax my throat. How are you today? How are you today? How are you today? How are you today? And it's very then, it's almost like talking. It's talking with a breath stop and not letting the breath leak while you talk. Then I can talk on pitch. Where is that? What am I doing? What about the miniature cough? Throws my voice way up here in the mask. It's very sort of gets kind of bony, especially at my age. When you get older, the voice gets bonier, no doubt about it. It's not as mellow as it used to be. But we want to be sure that we understand that when we sing, every action has an opposite equal reaction. If you breathe wrong, if you breathe with your belly going out, and you breathe like this, and you start to sing and it goes in, or you pull it and you go, it automatically puts itself in my nose. Nasality, should have heard Franco Corelli in New York. The Italians ate. We ate the noise. We ate at the nose. We ate at the nose. I say, did he eat his nose? No, he hates the nose. He hates nasality. He said all the Italians hate nasality, you know. But the nasality is sitting down here. It's below the true mask, and therefore if you sing nasally and you get in a big theater, a big orchestra, nobody can hear you. See? So we don't breathe with this swelling out while we breathe with it going in, like Caruso said in his book. He said, draw the abdomen in when you breathe and do a contra motion when you sing. So I go, ah, guess what? It's not nasal anymore. So do I have to do anything at all except breathe? That's the question. Louisa Tetrasini said, prop the breath up. So you take a big breath way down the lower rear quadrant of your lungs. Fill up your lungs in the back from bottom to top. Like a ladder, she said. Lean the breath over against your sternum like a ladder, and you go, and now it's sitting there. Now the lean is right on my sternum. It's right here. And now I'm going to sing. Tombe degli avi miei, l'ultima danza, non stirpe felice. Where is my lean? Where is my breath stop when I use that technique? If I do a staccato, I go, tombe degli avi miei, l'ultima danza, non stirpe felice, te raccogliete voi. See? All of these breath stops, the miniature cough is tombe degli avi miei, l'ultima danza. See? Remember the falsetto attachment? Remember that? That's in one of the videos somewhere. Talking about GD going, ooh, ah, ah. What is that except a breath stop? The breath is going, ooh, then you stop it. Ooh, ah, and you stop it right here. So you can sing like this. There are all these different ways to stop the breath, and this is terminology, and that all singers should not only know and be familiar with, but understand what it does. For some reason, when we want to sing and be heard in great big spaces, big orchestras, I remember my personal record was 6,400 seats. But my students, two of my students sang Aida. One sang Aida, one sang the tenor part, Radames, in the Hartford professional basketball and hockey arena. It was 11,400 seats with real elephants on the stage and the whole thing, but no microphones. You should have heard them. And both the two of them about blew the roof off, and you couldn't hear anybody else. It's really interesting. Because this breath stop makes the voice sound much, much bigger than it is in terms of what category you are and what repertoire you should sing. Category isn't just how loud you are in the back of the theater, it's also having to sing against a monster orchestra, and a lot of the big dramatic roles make you sing a lot in your middle voice, in the middle register. And if you sing down there, I mean, look at Tenor, he goes, in Brunst im Herzen, or even Siegmund. Ein Weib sah ich wannig und hier, entzückend wangen, wange mein Herz. And you're singing down there in that middle voice all the time, like the Flying Dutchman. Auf hohem Felsen lag ich träumend. Lots of low middle voice singing. The best way to do that, you just go, ich weiß es selber kaum. Ha, ha. Ha, you sing right in your middle voice all the time. Die weißes Lieder dieser Knaben, sei ich mir hier ins Herz gegraben. And if you can get these, some people call it hard styling instead of soft. Soft styling is hard styling is presetting, using muscles to make things do things. Whereas it's possible to do it just by leaning on it and going and skip aside. He went, he and Claudia Muzzo, they went like that. So I go, quando bello, quando è cara. I can do it hard style. Quando bello, quando è cara. In other words, you can do all kinds of things as long as you have breath control. And how do we get our breath under control? By stopping it. If I do, I just stop my breath. And all you have to do, if you're going to work out by yourself, is move the paper deliberately. The paper's blowing like crazy. And then I stop the breath. I go, one leaks and one doesn't. The one that doesn't is the one I want to use. When you work with countertenors, you have to figure out a way to get that falsetto register to not leak air. Right? So much of singing, once the voice wants to project and really have resonance and all of that, has to do with not leaking. So remember Adelina Patti was considered maybe the only perfect singer in history. That's what Lily Levin wrote. She said she's everything about her. She's endowed with everything there is that a singer could possibly ever hope for, and is a perfect natural singer. And when they ask her how do you sing? What do you think about when you sing? She said, "Don't sing breathy." Okay. All right. So think about some of these breath stops, and let's see. Remember, the throat does nothing. Richard Tucker sang a huge note one day in a lesson I was having with him. And he turned to me, he said, see, the voice does nothing. The breath does everything. So you go, allows you to be spontaneous. You can be free. If you're acting your diction, you can understand every word I'm saying. Because the breath is stopped and nothing is in my throat interfering, and I'm not having to compensate in my throat for all that air blowing up there. Okay? Okay, guys. Ciao.